How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is David Fritz, and in this video you're going to learn exactly how to produce minimal deep tech like Kolter and Stussy. Before I start this tutorial, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel to not miss out any tech house production or house music production tutorials. Please make sure to watch this video from the beginning until the end, because you're going to learn a lot of house music production techniques what you can use for all your future productions. Even if you want to produce tech house one day, make sure to check it out, and let's get straight into it. So what's really typical for Stussy and the Kolter tracks are basically the synth loops, the synth pads. I'm talking about those ones here. Let's start first of all with the kick. The kick is a very classic 808 kick, something like this. I already bought this in the Piff shop, for example. And let's start the loop with a very simple sample. Tempo is 126 BPM. We can also put it down to 124 minimum, but it usually isn't higher than 128. Assign to channel 20. Just here. Let's just first of all add a very simple clap and a hi-hat. For a hi-hat we want something a bit more higher pitched, not as low as this one here. If you want to get this template, by the way, you can also download this. I have the link for that in the description where all the channels are assigned. It's going to save you heaps of time. Definitely make sure to check that out. Now let's write a little bass line. Usually what we use for minimal deep tech is a Moog bass, which is this one. What's really typical for this type of minimal deep tech is that the bass lines are very groovy. There's like some sort of groove in it as well. It sounds very bouncy. But let's now work a little bit on the bass line here on the note. I'll have to put it up a few octaves because I can't hear if it's in the right key. Nice, sounds good to me. Now let's add a very simple snare, which is really typical for Joko especially, or Kolter. I still have to get used to his new name. This sounds already quite nice, but this snare definitely needs a groove, so we're going to press Option Q for add a bit of groove. Cool, let's duplicate this little 4-bar loop and see what we can add there. What's also really typical for minimal deep tech is to add like an organ or like a piano loop, something like this. Now I even think that the synth pad loops in the beginning can be taken away. So let's first of all add a little bit of reverb to this synth loop. Cut away the lows. So this basic idea is already written down. Let's go a little bit now into the arrangement. Let's start the track first of all with just the drums and a bit of the bass, but without any low end. By the way, if you're not interested in learning house music production in detail, I'm offering one-by-one sessions with my clients who want to learn house music production with me personally. I'm teaching you how to mix better. I'm teaching you how to have a better mindset for music production, how to save yourself heaps of time by producing. I'm going to give you my personal techniques, what I've used the last years to release at least 10 tracks with 4 different or 5 different record labels. Also make sure to check out my music on Spotify. I have a few tracks which came out recently. Also a few tracks, for example, the I Want It remix, which is a really good one. Definitely make sure to check that out. And let's continue in the text. So usually minimal deep tech starts with just the drums and a bass, but usually high pitched, and then slowly you get into like adding elements in with, for example, a low pass filter. It's really easy. Minimal deep tech is really typical for like putting things in, taking them away again with subtle things like a low pass filter or a high pass filter. But let's do, in this case, do it with a low pass filter. So this specific synth loop here, I want to let this start with a low pass filter. So we're going to go on channel 20 and enable this high pass low pass filter here. And everything we're going to do is we're going to double click on this little blue knob and press create automation clip. Then it's going to put the automation. It's like basically the same thing what a DJ does when he turns the knobs of his mixer. So what we're going to do, we're going to start here, and the more lower it is, here, the more like the lower the frequencies are cut out, like this. You can hear it. And we bring it up slowly. This comes a bit later. Let's add a ride as well, which would suit perfectly into this. What I usually do is while the loop is playing, I'm also playing with the samples like in time. So I press the right key and see if it matches like sound selection wise before I put it into the playlist. I straight away assign it to a channel where I think I'm going to process it. Let's put it to channel, say channel 13 at 12. Duplicate. Let's do the same principle now with this house, this piano, whatever synth loop this is. And let's go again on channel 22, add a low pass filter, and here we go. Just put it straight under the synth loop, which makes it easier for you to visually see it. The reason I'm organizing everything while I'm producing is because after that, when we have a lot of elements, a lot of automation, we don't want to lose like the orientation. We don't want to lose like where exactly are the samples, what I'm looking for. If I want to change this, we will know exactly where it is. That's exactly why I assigned all those channels with automations and stuff. You can get this specific template. It's going to save you heaps of time. Make sure you buy this and purchase now on tunebed.com for just under $10. It's going to save you heaps of time. So the same thing. Let's add a little breakdown here, like a little breakdown where we take all the elements away. And slowly the high pass filter opens up. And now is the perfect time to put all the elements back in again. As I told you before, taking elements away, putting them in again. When the drop hits. Add a bit of reverb on the master channel as well. Add a bit of reverb to the elements like the drums, the hi-hats and the claps. Let's go now a little bit into mixing to polish this project a little bit. So let's first start with the kick and the bass. As always, I'm just using the LFO tool And what I do is I put an LFO tool on the kick channel to see how the wave looks like. Then I go on the bass channel, put another LFO tool, and with a sidechain setting. So I can now adjust perfectly the wave of the bass, ducking down to the kick. But also listen to your ears as well. When I'm mixing my bass, usually I first of all use a bit of saturation, which could be, for example, this one. Please don't forget to put the gain down again, because every time you saturate something, the sound gets louder, but we also need to make sure that it's not just louder, we need to make sure that it's actually adding harmonics and sounds richer, like this. Always press the mute button to have a direct comparison of it. Then let's add a compressor and compress the shit out of this sound, because the bass needs to be streamlined, like a sausage kind of. I want to add a bit of mid, because I really think that it's important that we hear the mid, which is this part here. Cut a bit the up, cut a bit the highs. Sounds amazing. Sounds really full and rich, and that's exactly why we're using compression and also a bit of saturation for minimal deep tech or even for tech house. Also make sure to check out this video, which explains exactly how to mix your tech house tracks in FL Studio. Too much. There's way too much reverb on the hi-hats. Also make sure to cut away from all the other elements like the house synth pads, the pads, to cut away the low frequencies below 150 Hz, because this area below 150 Hz is important that the bassline gets it. If we have too much of the low information, which is not necessary, it's going to make the mix muddy, and it's not going to sound as good as you want it to sound like. Now we have two different elements which play exactly the same time. We need to make sure that they're not fighting for the space. So let's say one of them is more important than the other one. I would say in this case it's this dum 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 dum. This is like the house. It's like the piano loop. So let's boost a bit the frequencies there and take it from the other one. Take it a bit away. This loop is finished now, so let's listen to it one more time and let's enjoy it. Like this video and comment below this video if you think if I should release this track, yes or no, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.